crazy is that? Okay, so this, remember I said I call my products Garden Magic? This is number one because it's the most important one there is. It's pure minerals. Mine from an ancient seabed out in Nevada. Guess how many minerals are in it?
9.
You got it. And it's balanced and it's chelated, which means it's already been through a living organism. So it's what we call bioavailable. Bio means living and available means it can be taken up and used. So when you add this to your plants, they can absorb it almost instantaneously. You water it in and you will see a big difference in days. I had a couple come into my garden center last weekend and they bought a bunch of plants and they had some a lemon and a lime that really looked sad. So they fixed it up the way I told them to fix it up, and I talked to him today and he says, they look happier. I go, of course they are, you're feeding them. No, good stuff. So this has the 90 minerals, and you have to feed your plants every 3 months. So it's not every day, it's not every week. And I just write it on my calendar, time to feed the trees. And I usually use a handful per plant. Pardon?
Sprinkle.
You can, if it's already in the ground, you just put it on top of the ground and water it in. If you're planting, I put it at the bottom of the hole as well as on the top of the hole. So when you're watering it from the top, the minerals go into the top roots, and when the bottom roots are growing, they grow right into it, and they're just very, very happy.
Do rats, since we have fruit rats among the many things we have here, do the fruit rats go after things? I know you told me if a grapefruit is very healthy, it won't go after. Is that true of all, everything, or no?
Kind of. Let me answer her question in
Yeah,
full.
because I know certain people are scared of rats, and in certain places they just come if they're near a restaurant, or, you know, I've seen some really elegant places with rat little boxes, and I don't know,
Right.
that's what they are.
Well, here's the thing. If we were in the middle of the desert and you saw vultures circling, what would you know?
If we have
Vultures.
dead.
We're dying.
Yeah.
So it's the vulture's job to clean up the desert.
Yeah.
So does that make vultures bad? No.
I like that.
Yeah. Well, rats, their job is to clean up the cities. And here's the thing. Fruit trees do not attract rats. And it's funny because I know so many people who I cut down all my fruit trees because it attracted rats. It doesn't attract the rats. What attracts the rats is when they let the fruit drop and sit there and rot. And they come in to clean up the yard. And then they kind of get used to eating it and they go into the trees. But it's the people not taking care of their plants and their yard that draws the rats.
Now, some people think that maybe that rotting fruit is just adding
No,
organic stuff. That's not true, because I knew someone, she had a delicious orange tree, and so I said, what do you give it? Oh, whenever we have extra food, like bread or something, we just throw it there, and it was delicious.
You work it.
But I don't know how long she has been there, because sometimes it has to do with who was there before you.
Right,
And
right.
they have fed it better than you. I don't know the situation.
Well, have you heard that there's a lot of citrus greening going around and
Yeah.
cutting down a lot of trees?
Yes. I lost 7.
Okay, well, 3 years ago, my friend Cal called me up and he said, Jay, I am so upset. I've just been told my 2 citrus that I absolutely love have been diagnosed with citrus greening and I have to cut them down because there's no cure. What do I do? I said, feed them. So he came over and I showed him exactly what to do. So pretend this is the tree. And I told him to clean out about 3 feet around the tree so there's no weed or grasses. And I have a product, I did not bring it with me because it's a big heavy bag. It's called biochar. Has anybody heard of that? Okay, it was developed by the biochar. Bio means living, char means it's been burnt until it's charred. So it was developed by the Mayan Indians 6,000 years ago so that they could have sustainable gardens. It's a very new product. Yeah, and so it holds 5 times as much moisture as regular soil does. It holds onto the nutrients but releases it when the plants need it. We haven't gotten there yet, but it's the perfect place for the microorganisms to live. And we know charcoal purifies, right? So it helps purify the soil and any water going through it. But the most important thing it does is it holds carbon in the soil. And carbon is to plants what oxygen is to us. So when the plant dies, the carbon dioxide goes into the air, but this keeps it in there. So it helps lower the carbon dioxide on the planet, which is good for us. So anyway, what I told him to do, they were big trees, so I told him to put a couple of cups of the minerals in that circle that he just cleaned out. If you've got a huge tree, you might use 3 or 4 cups. And then I told him to use, and I haven't told you what this is yet, I told him to put a couple of cups of number 3, this is Garden Magic number 3, and I'll explain it very thoroughly in just a minute, around it, and then put a bag of biochar on top of that, put some mulch on top of that, and water it really good. Make sure it gets watered at least twice a week. And a year and a half later, he came over to my garden center, and he said, "Jay, you're amazing!" I go, "Why?" And he says, "My fruit trees are fully healthy. They're covered with leaves again. This winter, they flowered profusely, and now they're covered with fruit." So how cool is that? So there is a way to make your plants healthy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And how much water do you give like a tree, like a big tree or a weed? Or?
I would probably water it, count to about 60, maybe 2 or 3 times a week. Yeah, we don't want to drown them. I know one woman, she just throws the hose down and lets it run for like a half an hour. That's a little too much. Just a couple minutes is really all you need. All right, so this is the plant food. Number 1. All right, you know how we have the good bacteria in our gut, and that's our immune system, right? Those microorganisms are supposed to be in the soil. Did you know that?
The same one, the same...
The same exact ones.
The good ones or the bad ones?
Well, the ones we're supposed to have in here.
The good ones.
Yeah, the good ones. And that does the same thing for the plants as it does for us. It helps take up and absorb and use those nutrients. So have you ever eaten fresh blueberries or fresh grapes right off the vine? You remember that silver sheen on the outside?
Yeah.
Those are the microorganisms.
Oh.
So we're supposed to pick fresh and eat, and we get our vitamins, our minerals, our microorganisms, and we become very healthy. We're not supposed to have to go to Nature's Food Patch and get yogurt and kefir and kombucha and selenium and zinc to boost our immune system. We're not supposed to have to do that. We're supposed to get it from our food. Do you remember Hippocrates said, "Let thy food be thy medicine, let thy medicine be thy food"? Yeah.
So you don't wash it off, or does it even wash off?
Don't wash it
Don't
off.
wash your blueberries in there.
No.
Yeah.
Those are the microorganisms. And it's actually on all fruit, like the apples. You know, you look at it and it's got this silver sheen and you wipe it all off. Yeah, we should be beating that. But it's kind of hard because apples are the second most toxic thing with the poisons on them. So what are we going to do about
And they
that?
wash them and wax them anyway, even organic, so it's gone.
That's why it's nice to grow your own. What were you going to say?
Are you saying that the healthy probiotics that's in our intestines, when it's in the soil, it passes through the root system of the plant? Is that what you're saying?
And it goes onto the fruit, yep.
Into the leaves, or into the fruit, or into
the fruit,
the entire plant?
yeah.
So the same as if it off.
It actually can pass through the root system, because I always wondered about that.
Yeah. Yeah. What were you saying?
The same type of gut bacteria as Enterophilus.
Well, it's all, this actually contains all the families of all the microorganisms that are supposed to be in the soil. There's
What's the
many,
name?
many, many families of them, just like they are in our gut.
And what's the name of that?
Garden Magic number 2. It's the second most important one.
Can we drink it?
Is that that's not the biochar, is it?
No, biochar is number 4.
What is that called?
Garden Magic number 2, microorganisms. And actually, I have a scientist friend that lives here in Clearwater, and he actually makes a human grade of this, and this is the plant grade, only because it's got some humic acid in it, but which the plants like. But one day I had a friend come over and he bought a bottle of each. And then he got home and he took a big swig out of one and he called me up, goes, "Oh my God, I drank the one for the plants. Will I die?" I go, "No, that's fine."
It's just a green.
So,
Green earwax, right?
so these are the same ones in here, but it does have some humic acid, which makes the plants happy. All right. So how many of you know what guano is?
Oh, yeah.
It's bird poop.
Yeah.
All right. So
Bad food.
well, guano is bird poop,
Okay.
but this is made out of bat guano.
Okay.
So bat guano has been considered to be the best fertilizer on the planet for hundreds and hundreds of years. As a matter of fact, when Europe was conquering Central and South America, they used to tell their sailors, before you come back, you find caves and bring back the guano. That's how valuable it is. And so it was funny because, about 5 years ago, I had a customer, and she said to me, "Jay, I love tomatoes and I want to eat them every day." I go, "Okay." And I leave and I go, because I was growing tomatoes. Now, I'm from Michigan. So, you know, we could plant 5, 6 tomatoes. We'd eat them raw every day. We'd can them. We'd give them to neighbors. We could do anything we wanted to them, and we were glad when it finally frosted, so we were done with them. But down here, I was growing tomatoes. They tasted phenomenal, but I never got any, production. I didn't get masses of them, so I couldn't sit down and just make lots of, tomato salads or just slice them up and have lots of. So I went, okay, now how do I solve this problem? Because I hadn't been able to solve it for me. So I looked it up on the internet. What do tomatoes need? They need a pH of 6 to 6.5. Outside of that, they don't do well. They also are very susceptible to the bad nematodes in the soil. And they're needy. They just need a lot more nutrients than most of the other plants. So I went, okay, now I know what tomatoes need, but what do I do? The next day, the guy I buy the minerals from, who owns the mine out in Nevada, called me up. And he said, "Hey, Jay, I got 1,800 pounds of bat guano. You want it?" I said, "Joe, let me get back to you. Why do I want bat guano?" So I looked it up. Bat guano lowers the pH of the soil, kills the bad nematodes, bad funguses, and bad bacteria in the soil that damage plants, and it's got all those extra nutrients. So I said, "Joe, send that bat guano to me." I sold all 1,800 pounds in 1 year. You bought some, didn't you?
Yes,
Yeah. How'd it work?
fine. I have a lot of tomatoes.
See, there you go. It works. So I actually mix the bat guano with worm castings and blood meal, and this is my superfood.
That's powerful.
Oh, it's powerful. You only need 1 to 2 tablespoons per plant, and they love it. Now,
So what is in that jar? Is that just the bat guano?
bat guano, worm castings, and blood meal.
That's magic number 2?
3.
Three.
Oh, magic number 2.
Number 3.
I'm having a tough time keeping track of what we're doing.
I understand. So anyway, I've done lots of experiments with this, and I don't call it tomato food. I call it superfood because it's so amazing. Even though the tomatoes do phenomenal with it, all the experiments I've done shows that everybody likes it.
You ever use macam, elephant poop?
No,
Okay.
I've never known anybody who had an elephant to get it from.
I had 100 pounds I couldn't get rid of.
Well, if you would have talked to me, I probably would have took some.
I have to ask, where do you get 100 pounds of elephant?
It was dried. I mean, it can sit for years and you don't smell it.
Yeah, but where'd you get it in the first place?
Off of my orchid plants.
Oh,
Where
yeah,
did
I've
you
heard
get
it's good for roses.
Where?
Puerto Rico, I threw a commercial ball.
Yeah, so anyway, this is the superfood. So those are the 4 products that I sell, and my gardens do phenomenal. Now this, you want to add every 3 months, or if they look stressed. The microorganisms I add, like let's say we planted this whole big bed here, and when I get all done, I water it, and then I add this. And this is very concentrated, so it's 1 tablespoon per gallon of water, and we wouldn't need more than 1 gallon for all the plants, and once a year. And the only reason I say use it once a year is because we get these torrential rains which wash out, the soil. And I don't know if they wash out the microorganisms, so it doesn't hurt to add them. So this would last you a couple of years, every 3 months, and then the biochar is a one-time only. Put an inch into your soil and work it in, and we guarantee you it will last at least 1,000 years, if not 6,000 years.
I don't think I'll be some money back guarantee.
Yep. You come see me if it's gone, and I give you your money back. So now I'd like to show you a few plants. So do you all know stevia?
The biochar, does that change the pH of the soil?
No,
The charcoal? Okay, thank you.
not that I know of.
Okay.
There's those 5 things. What?
How often do you apply number 1?
Every 3 months. Unless we get torrential rains and it's washing it out, then I give it more.
And that's the same for number 3?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Show you some plants, okay?
I have one quick question.
Yeah.
What are the 5 things that change the pH of soil?
No.
No?
There's 5 things biochar does.
Oh, I see.
It does not change the pH of the soil.
Okay.
Just the
I
back
understand.
guano does.
Not fun.
Yeah. I mean, there are other things that change the pH of the soil, like peat moss, but then that's not a biorenewable thing.
Yes.
And then there's sulfur, and you can't really control that because it comes in pellets. So it's better if you can just try to control it, with something that's easy.
I have another question.
Yeah.
Getting back to manure, what about people or animal cow manure? They put it on plants. Is it probiotics that's never been discussed to my knowledge? Is it probiotics in manure that people do?
That's a very good question. All right.
You don't have to take in depth. It just crossed my mind. I had to ask. That's all.
Well, I don't know how to answer it without answering it.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
So-
Okay, well, that's
so-
clever. I haven't heard that one yet.
So, it depends on where you're getting your manure. If you buy the standard stuff in Lowe's and Home Depot, it's going to be cow manure. Guess where that comes from?
Factory.
Factory farming. So it's been fed with GMOs. They've been injected with GMO bovine growth hormone and